This is segment 2 of the SMG to 6-speed manual conversion on this E46 M3 over here. So today, I'm gonna dive right in, and I'm gonna show you guys, how certain things are set up from the factory. That BMW made some things a little bit easier, not simple, but a little bit easier. And I picked up a couple tools that I'm gonna need for this, because certain tools that I had just wasn't adequate enough for the job. You need to make sure you have the right stuff to make the job as easy as possible. So we're gonna dive into that. We're gonna dive into unboxing those tools, and yeah, let's get started. All right. So we picked up fuel 1500 nut busting torque gun from Milwaukee. I'm a Milwaukee man. All my tools, all my power tools are Milwaukee. I mean, if you're into your power tools and you're into building, can't go wrong with Milwaukee. Stopped at Harbor Freight, picked up this Pittsburgh 3-ton jack. This jack is a lot bigger, beefier, more heavy duty than the lightweight aluminum one that I currently have. Well, there you have it. Unboxed this nice new fuel Milwaukee impact gun. Comes with this M18 battery right now. It's on sale at Home Depot. $250. The battery and the impact. Can't beat that. Can't beat that at all. Then this 3-ton low profile. Real low profile. I actually like this. This is really good for, those lowered cars, those performance cars. It's not one of those big doofy jacks. Picked this up from Harbor Freight, and I gotta say, first of all, the damn thing feels like it weighed like 100 pounds, but it seems very heavy duty, and it's gonna definitely get me to the height that I need. Here we have this bad boy here. So I actually jumped in this thing last night and started, I couldn't really wait, so I took off the panel, this down low here, just basically, pulled off the plug-in. There was a couple sensors here, just unplugged them. There was a couple screws, and some fitting, about 4 screws that you just had to take off to get the panel in that sits right here out. What I wanted to do was actually expose the way that the pedal setup is oriented. So right here we got the brake pedal. This is the brake pedal here. And what BMW did for us already is this entire assembly is actually made to have a brake and to have a clutch pedal. Because this right here, you can see this mount right here comes out for you to put the clutch pedal on. And these mounts here is where the sensors are going to sit in for the clutch pedal. Along here, right back here, let's get this wire out the way. Right back here, BMW already made a slot in the firewall to send the clutch hose that's going to be going to the master cylinder straight through here up to the reservoir. So yeah, first thing is first, we disconnect the battery. The car is already in neutral, and I had already came around and disconnected the battery. Disconnected the battery because you don't want, any power going through the car while doing any kind of heavy duty jobs like this. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to be changing these shocks on the hood, because they're a bit worn. They're not holding the hood up anymore. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually, start pulling off this back assembly here, pulling out the shrunk bar. I'm going to get the air box out, and that's going to expose the SMG pump underneath. So all this stuff, I'm about to pull all that out right now. When you get to this stage of taking off the reservoir to the SMG pump, you have to empty out the reservoir before you even pull it from underneath the bottom. Now, it's important that you empty this reservoir and just don't let it get on the floor because you don't want these chemicals seeping in through the floor. All right, finally, so I got the air box out. Air box is out. This SMG fluid is out of the reservoir. And man, this thing was disgusting. You can see that? Yeah. It's disgusting and it smells awful. That needed to be changed anyway. Good thing I'm doing this conversion. So these are all the other components. The air box had to come out. And now you see this is the SMG pump here. This is what costs everybody thousands of dollars to, change out this pump. So I'm gonna pull this pump. I'm gonna pull all 4 hoses. Then I'm gonna pull the pump because these go to the transmission. After we finish up here, then we could go underneath the car. SMG pump almost out. Lines are off. All the connections are disconnected up top. Got to get underneath the car. I'm gonna jack the car up. Jack it up all 4 corners. Get it all the way up in the air because I'm gonna have to get ready to take that transmission out. Then I'm gonna come in here and take out the whole shifter assembly. All right. So I got the shifter out. This is the SMG shifter here. That's the whole shifter assembly. All the other SMG housing and just the entire rest of the center console. So now I'm gonna go underneath the car. I'm gonna have to take out a couple spot welds that's on the outside of this and punch this out because this is where the manual shifter is gonna go down through. So pretty much we did everything on the top is done. The SMG pump is loose. All the connections are loose up top. Now I'm gonna jack the car up and yeah, it's time to start the major stuff from underneath. Right here you can see that the car is jacked up on all 4 jack stands. So it's evenly jacked up. I even got a little backup diff jack back there. It's just right underneath, just a little extra safety precaution. You never know, a jack can fail. This exhaust back here is really nice. Like, this is a nice quality exhaust. Like, I know it sounded amazing when I drove it, but seeing it from underneath, this is a quality. Gonna take the entire exhaust off, front to back. Gonna take out this heat shield underneath here. Then I'll get access to the drive shaft. The drive shaft is gonna come out. All these bottom plastics are gonna come off. And then I'll have access to the shifter and then access to the SMG pump to finish disconnecting it. Just pulled the exhaust out, and man, this is a very nice exhaust. See, stainless, all shiny on this side, super shiny. Clean this bad boy up, look at that. Yeah, that's a really nice exhaust. Came out one piece. Now to the heat shield and the drive shaft. SMG pump is out in all his glory. Gave me a little hassle, but came out one piece in great condition. Anybody want an SMG pump, let me know. For sale. Space empty. Oh, it's been a long night, but everything is from underneath. Transmission's being supported right now by the jack. I got about 4 screws left in the transmission to get it out. These screws are not easy, trust me. Everything else is out from the car. tomorrow I gotta go pick up some extensions and yeah, get back busy with this thing. Get this transmission out by tomorrow and get the casing off. What's up, YouTube? So it's been a long night wrenching away at this car. By the looks of my clothes, it looked like the car's been wrenching away at me. But I got, probably about 70% of the way through. Everything from underneath is taken out: drive shaft, exhaust, all the underbody. Everything is taken out from underneath. The pump is out, SMG pump is out. And I got about 6 screws out of the transmission. But if any of you know how the E46 are set up, you know that some of those bolts are almost impossible to get through. So tomorrow I got to get me probably like 2 extensions, make them about, I don't know, 3 feet long probably, to get to like the top bolts. But yeah, I would say it's been a very progressive night. I've been going at it for maybe about 5 hours, but I think I got a lot accomplished in that 5 hours. What's going on, YouTube? All right, well, it's day 2 right now, and last night I ran into a couple complications with the extensions that I had, and I had to run out to Harbor Freight and AutoZone to actually pick up a couple extra tools that's mandatory for this job. So first thing I had to pick up was the short Torx bits. So these Torx bits are regular standard short size. The ones I had before they were extended. There was a longer Torx bits, and they just weren't working for too many of the tranny bolts. They only worked for about 4 bolts, but the rest of them, you need these short ones with the swivel. Next thing I had to go out was the Harbor Freight. Picked up this extension set. So I need this 15 and I need this 10-inch. But I needed more because I need about 3 to 4 feet of extension. So I'm going to use both these 15s, both these 10s, and if I have to use some of these shorter extensions, the 5 or the 3, I'm going to use the 5 or the 3 as well to get to those top bolts that's on the top of the transmission. Next thing I had to buy was, I had to buy this complete wrench set, even though I have no use for all this because I already have a ton of wrenches. I literally only needed this 32, but they wouldn't sell me just the 32, so I had to buy the whole set. So this 32, I'm gonna need that to take off the fan, because I realized, when I lowered the transmission, the engine tilts forward, and now the fan is starting to touch the radiator. I don't need those problems. You don't want those problems. So the easiest thing is to just, pull the fan off. That way you'll get a lot of tilt room to tilt the engine back and the transmission back, so you could get to the top bolts that's on top of the transmission. All right, so it's time to get. What's up, guys? All right, finally, victory. The transmission is out. I'm gonna get the casing off. This is what I'm gonna split from the transmission, and get this to the machine shop, because they'll have to machine out this section and this section and put the detents inside the casing here. Gonna take off this entire actuator here for the SMG. This is what does the shifting for you in your SMG, just in case you didn't know. These are all the lines here. They go up to the pump. Now, I'm gonna go over something very, very, very important that I read a lot of things, but a lot of things were conflicting. I read on the forums, I read on a couple different places and asked a couple questions, but the answers wasn't clear until now when I finally did the job myself. So I'm pointing at these bolts, and each of these bolts are specifically in line, because these bolts they're an M8. There's an M8, M10, No, wait, hold on. Let me be 100% sure with you guys, because I don't even think there was an M8. Where is it? Where is it? Okay. So this one here, this was an M10. Okay, so the smallest one was an M10. M10, M14, and an M12. That's a 14. And the 12 is around here somewhere. Where you at? Where you at? Okay, here we go. All right. And this is a M12. So a lot of people I've read, different places, they said that these bolts, all these bolts in the transmission are M8, M10, and M12. Well, that was incorrect. The correct size for your torque bits is an M10. That's an M10. Then the next size up is an M12. Then you have an M14. I never used the M8 for any one of these bolts. These two bolts, this bolt was in the transmission, right at the bottom of the transmission going through the oil pan. So just make sure you get that. That's just a regular 10 millimeter. Each of these are in line, specifically, starting with, this is number 1 right here. I know exactly where this is on transmission. You have to take these off in order, and you have to make sure that you put them back in the same order you took them from. So from the bottom left side of the transmission, which I'll show you here, I started off with this bolt here. So this bolt is my number 1. That's my number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it's 9 bolts that hold it together. I've read some places that said there's 10, some places said there's 11. All right, granted, you have this on a little plate that's behind the transmission, and you have this from the oil pan. But these two they're givens, they're obvious. This is, I was a little bit confused with trying to find 11 bolts before I popped out the transmission. But in fact, there's 9. I'm gonna clean these all up, get them ready to go back in after when it's assembly time. But this was major. Definitely got a lot done. I didn't know if this was gonna take me 2 days, 3 days, a week. I didn't know, but hey, it only took me several hours. I started last night, spent about 5 hours, took the entire underbody apart, and then came back today, spent like another 3 hours. No, not even 2 hours. So here's the clutch and flywheel. And it looks like it's in good condition there. Yeah, so time to pull this casing off, clean up inside the transmission, and on to the next step. Alright, well, update. Casing is off. I got the casing off. Transmission, that's the casing. So yeah, I'm just gonna clean this up. I have to clean up all of this. I got fluid all over the floor. Clean this up. I'm gonna get it boxed up, sent out to the machine shop. It's actually a lot lighter than I thought it was. Probably won't cost me that much to ship it, so that's good. So, some of you that don't know what this procedure entails, basically they put a spring in this area here, spring, and then they put some detents in here. They machine out this hole so fluid flows through there. When it gets back, I'll do a update for you guys so you guys can see that. it was definitely time for me to take this transmission out and actually service it anyway, because this throwout bearing, the throwout bearing on this fork literally fell right out the casing, because the little pin there that's supposed to be behind it, the pin, everything broke in half, fell right out. No wonder I was getting vibration around 60-70 miles an hour, because this was never in place. So I guess this was a good time for this conversion. This is the actuator sitting out here. If you got an SMG, anyone you know that want all these stuff, everything came out just the way that it was in the car. So everything's actually for sale. I don't got no more use for this. The pump, everything is good to go. So that's for sale too. So if you guys know somebody that want that stuff, let me know. It's all available. Alright, YouTube. Well, here you go. Less than a full day's work. If I had started early yesterday, I would have got this done completely yesterday. But it actually wasn't that bad. You know, some of the things that I've read, yeah, some of it was, a lot of it was factual, but some of it wasn't factual. And that's why I'm doing this video for you guys, because I'm answering a lot of questions that I just couldn't find, or a lot of questions that seem vague or confusing to me. And hopefully, you know, I answered a lot of questions and showed enough video and pictures for you guys to have a better understanding. One thing I will tell you though is this is not an easy job. Yeah, I'm coming back with updates each time, but this is a real shitty job. Like, this is you know, it takes a lot of skill, a lot of time, a lot of patience to actually get this done. So if you are skilled and you have patience, then you can do the job. But if you don't have those, you know, mechanical skills to, you know, improvise sometimes when you don't have certain tools, or you just don't have space. Like, I'm not working on a lift, I'm working on the floor. So, you know, it took certain maneuvering. I don't have a transmission jack. A lot of people recommend using a transmission jack, but it's not the first time around the block for me. So I didn't need a transmission jack. You know, most people might need a transmission jack. I simply use a regular jack, and you know, just a little mechanical skills that I have. You know, the skills that I have, I just maneuvered enough to safely bring the transmission down and slide it from underneath the car. If you're not that inclined, then I would recommend getting a transmission jack for sure. The last thing you want to do is drop that casing, break it, crack it, or crack the transmission, because now you're in a world of trouble. But yeah, like I said before, I'm going to send this out to the machine shop. Hopefully I get it back by the end of the week, or if next week. And then, you know, it'll be time for assembly. And then it'll be time for test it out. And what I'm dreading is actually getting to the electrical part, because I hate electrical. Like, you know, when it comes to mechanical stuff, all day, every day, you know, I'll take the whole car apart and put it back together, but I hate electrical. But it's all right. I already did a lot of research on that as well. So when we get to that stage, we'll be videoing that. I'll be videoing that for you guys as well. So until next time, please like, subscribe to this. You know, anybody that, you know, is interested in this, let them know. Watch the video, subscribe, follow. I have a lot more projects coming, you know, in the near future. This is just, you know, one of the major ones now. But yeah, you guys let me know, comment, and let me know what you guys want to see, if I missed anything. And yeah, see you soon. All right. Don't forget to clean your work area. Make sure everything's in order. Everything's in place. So when it's time to start again, you know where everything is. Nothing is misplaced or kicked around.